Hello and welcome to another build guide. So I always wanted to play with some fireball since I first started PoE maybe like 6 years ago, I don't know. But self-cast, fire skills, those kind of stuff aren't that good in this game unfortunately. So I was like, okay, it is very easy to farm currency in this game. After the maybe Delirium leak, it is even easier these days, yeah. So that's why I was like, okay, let's just do a high budget build around maybe 100x. Alright, let's just spend the money. Let's see how it will perform. And I was like looking for some clues, where to start. Because everyone is playing this as Ignite, alright? Fireball is mostly an Ignite skill or maybe some miners. So actually on the PoE Ninja or anywhere else, there are not much stuff, there are not many players that you can check. So I was like, okay, let's just combine all the broken stuff, meta shit, those kind of stuff. So I multi-modded plus gem, spell damage bow, some explode chest, frenzy, those kind of stuff. You can also use spell crit. We're gonna all talk about those in the gear section, obviously. So let's play a Deadeye for some good clear because she recently got buffed. +2 projectiles, also chain. So yeah, a decent clear. I was like, okay, let's just put some Deadeye, some squishy shit character, because her only purpose is to do DPS. So my only purpose with this build is to do DPS, kill bosses fast. I was like, maybe if I can pull 10 million DPS, I will be, happy. But in the end, you will just watch the clips in a second. But yeah, it was more than that, alright? So yeah, Deadeye, squishy character plus health cast, one of the worst playstyles these days, plus a fire skill. Again, no CC, nothing at all, so shit plus shit, even add more shit, alright? So this is a little shit build. If you have the money, if you want for some fun, if you want some fun, just go and play it. But you will die, yeah, because it's a squishy build, alright? So let's just watch the clips, and if you are interested, I'm gonna be back later. Alright, before we start with the items as usual, just some more information about the build. Again, this is a little shit build because Deadeye, squishy character, fireball, no CC, self-cast, shit playstyle, alright, you're gonna die. So yeah, if a boss takes longer to kill, you know, like a Cirrus, maybe Uber Elder, maybe what else? Elder Guardians because they phase all the time. Those kind of maps, if they have also bad mode, because you cannot burst those bosses, alright? Anything that you can burst, like a Conqueror, what's that? Guardians, those kind of stuff, they are easy. But the other stuff, multi-phase bosses, something like that, are bad with this build. Maybe you can even spend more, I'm not sure, because it is not about the DPS. You cannot just stand still and shoot all the time. You don't have cooldowns all the time, you'll run out of flasks, those kind of stuff. And the boss also doesn't stand still, you know, some bosses like Cirrus. So yeah, so if you want to play this build for mostly mapping, very fun, very fast, and also kill some Conquerors, Guardians, those kind of stuff. If you have another character maybe for Cirrus or any other kind of harder bosses, then just go and play this before anything changes. If you have the budget, again, you need some high budget for this build, because otherwise it will be even shitter, you know. So let's just start with the items. Bow. Probably your best options are +1 gem, spell damage, and crit multiplier. Crit multiplier can be a lower tier, or maybe you can just skip that for a cheaper bow and multi-mode the rest, plus 2 support gems, because we are also gonna use empower to boost that fireball's level, you know, because this is spell build, you need to boost that gem level. And finally, double damage chance. Maybe you can, you know, get a cheaper bow if you want. These are mostly like 10x, but yeah, I don't want to mention prices that much because they change. Yeah, but if I bought for 11x, I believe. Alright. If you want, you know, a similar bow, also recur bows, because they have implicit global crit multiplier, or anything that you can think of, you know, depending on your budget, maybe. For harvest craft, also you can enchant it with elemental damage, so you will have some more DPS. Helm, devouring diadem. So this is a drop from Katarina, so it is very cheap once the league is like 3 or 4 weeks in, you know, because everyone kills her. And yeah, nothing special actually, just put some maybe resist or dexterity if you need, because you know the craft is different actually, so you can maybe get a resist if you want, and that's it, nothing special. We are gonna also put our buffs here, because the thing about this helm is +1 socketed gems, so you can also put enlighten here, which is gonna be level 5 if your enlighten is level 4, and other buffs. So this also has, where's that, socketed gems have 20% reduced mana reservation, so this way we can reserve even more stuff. And because this helmet provides us a lot of inner shield, plus we are using a wall, regalia, you know, body armor, and yeah, those are actually enough. But you can even maybe put some more inner shield from somewhere if you want, but it is not that necessary. So eventually we are also playing Eldritch Battery, so we are not using any mana at all. So this is a free to cast skill, you don't have to worry about mana at all. You can even do no regeneration maps because inner shield doesn't get blocked by that modifier. So those kind of maps are also easy to do with this build. So amulet. So you need more gem level obviously. So warlord base, fire skill gems +1. Hunter base, intelligence skill gems +1. Combine the two with awakener orb. If you can get also some decent stuff if you need them, sure. But at least get a life, you know, or craft it like I did. Nothing that crazy, you can just try this on your own if you want, because these kind of stuff are not very cheap on the market. They are most of the time easier to just craft. If you get something very bad, just sell it, because you will probably also make profit, because most people don't even bother with these kind of crafts, you know. You can just craft this yourself in a couple of tries, or if you have the money, because since this is a high budget build, just use harvest craft maybe to delete some stuff and add some new stuff, you know. So yeah, but +2 gems, plus some life. Maybe that's enough actually. You don't even need that resist, you don't need that strength. You can just get a strength base, strength and dexterity citrine amulet like I did, because we are gonna need some strength and dexterity for some gems. So that is probably the best base you can get, or maybe an onyx amulet, but this is probably better, you know. And finally anointed it with constitution because we need life. This is a squishy build. Quiver, spike point because that is the only thing that you can get DPS from. Life, crit multiplier, again more crit chance, and resist. You can maybe skip crit chance and put another resist for easier, you know, resist cap. Because this is not a special quiver at all, it doesn't even have any influence. This is actually very easy to find, so this is a very good way to cap your resists. So you can freely, you know, get rid of that crit chance and put another resist if you want. And finally I even put more evasion and inner shield. That is not very necessary, you know, but you can just do that if you want. So just some crit multiplier, life, resist, rings. If you want DPS, opal rings, obviously. You can even use essence of anger, I believe. Let me check. Yeah, essence of angers to craft your own if you want, or just search for the market if you want, because they also exist. You know, very easy to find most of the time. But this is 2 months, you know, in the ritual league, so I'm not sure about the current market. But this is actually a very cheap ring. But you can just craft this maybe with essence of angers, or don't get elemental damage. That's that opal ring if you want. You can also get something else if you still need dexterity maybe, or maybe strength. You can also try and figure that out, you know, on your rings, because they are a good way to get those attributes. Life, resist, and that's it. Other ring, this is our curse choice. You can, if you want, also use maybe flammability or elemental weakness rings. So just make sure that you have a curse somewhere. You know, rings are a good way to use, you know, some curses easily, because they just trigger it automatically. You don't even do anything. So I picked Assassin's Mark because that's probably the best, because it is a mark. Marks are way better these days. But again, you can also get maybe flammability or elemental weakness. Other stuff, spell damage. But I'm not sure if you can get spell damage on other curses because it is on Shaper base. So that's why I'm gonna explain this item. Assassin's Mark, spell damage, resist if you can, and life. That's it. There are actually lots of results, but do not search, you know, similar resists. Maybe just try different combinations. You will be fine, you know. There are lots of results like this. Maybe you can skip spell damage if you really struggle getting your resists, because you won't miss that much, because the DPS is actually more than enough. Chest, because it's a fire skill, it doesn't provide any extra clear speed or something like that. Also, porcupines are a little, you know, hard to counter. It's a dodge build, obviously you will dodge most of the spikes, but yeah, better, you know, be safe than sorry. So yeah, explode obviously to boost our clear. Plus, if you have the money, frenzy charge on hit or spell crit. I actually wanted to go for spell crit because it is a little hard to generate frenzy charges on bosses, because they just die, you know. That's why you can also get spell crit. Maybe that's even cheaper, I'm not sure. If you still need resists, try to put that. But these chests are easily, you know, goes up in prices. So and make sure it has life or a crafted life. So yeah, the main stuff are explode plus something frenzy charge or spell crit. Val Regal is probably important because this is an Eldritch Battery build. We need some inner shield. Combining this with Devouring Diadem Helmet, we can achieve some decent inner shield, and that is most of the time enough. Plus we are also using Discipline Aura, so yeah. Gloves, this is probably the cheapest item I have, plus that opal ring, because I crafted it myself with what's that, Essence of Anger that I explained, you know, very easy. So yeah, these are one of the, this is also one of the other cheap pieces. Yeah, this is cheap. Spell damage, life, resist, that's it. Nothing very special. You can actually, you know, invest even further, put some unnerve for 10% more damage from Hunter gloves, I believe, or maybe Warlord, I'm not really sure, but I believe it is on Hunter. So yeah, those kind of gloves can be good if you even want to spend more. And also you can combine that with this kind of glove, maybe spell damage. So yeah, if you know maybe something else, just go for it. If you still need maybe curse, you can also use Hands of High Templar with elemental weakness curse, maybe with cast speed, those kind of double or triple corruptions. That can also be good. So nothing special, one of the easiest pieces. Belt. So if you want to play with a rare belt, because I wanted more life, I picked Stygian Vice. So life, maybe resist. On Shaper basis, you can get cast speed spell damage while, you know, on a Flask effect. You can maybe skip one of that, get only spell damage or cast speed. Or maybe get Warlord, I believe, belts for fire damage, those kind of stuff. With an open prefix, also put some global damage. So just try to get some damage. There are lots of damage stats on different influences. Just check PoE database website. Try to figure it on your own if you want to buy another base. If you have a Headhunter, obviously go for that because it's mostly a mapping character. Headhunter will work fine. Maybe Torrent Reclamation or whatever that is, I will put a picture for even more speed. Something like that. I don't know any other belts right now, I cannot think of, you know. So just use one of these probably. Finally, boots. Because we are already at Deadeye, we don't need Tailwind. I just picked Elusive for some dodge and that's it. Elusive, life, movement speed, and whatever you can fit in. Resist if you need. I also picked dodge spell because that was cheap actually. Because Elusive alone isn't that expensive. You can just get something good for a couple of exiles, and that's it. So Flasks. Because I am playing with two unique Flasks at the same time, I have to put Curse or Freeze on my Quicksilver. Because we are already at Deadeye with Elusive, Tailwind, those kind of stuff. This is a fast build, so you don't need that bonus movement speed actually. So make sure you put Curse or Freeze immunity on your Quicksilver. The other is on Diamond Flask. Since this is also a crit build, Diamond Flask is your best option. Dying Sun for more clear speed. This does nothing at single target. Fireball cannot shotgun, alright? That is not a thing. So that's why Dying Sun is useless on bosses. If you want to kill Guardians, you know, those kind of stuff, Conquerors maybe, just switch around with Battle Fate or Vizo. Battle Fate is like 2 exiles right now. So yeah, just go for that for a couple of million more DPS. So yeah, if you want even a bigger DPS, just also take out Quicksilver and also put a Vizo there. That's what I do on big bosses, so I can one-shot them, you know, kill them in 1 second. So yeah, make sure you have Battle Fate and Vizo ready in your bank, so you can just equip those at a very big boss. Cinder Swallow, probably a must for this build. You don't have to get one with crit chance, it is the most expensive but also gives DPS, but you don't actually need that. You can also get one with stun avoidance, that can also be very good because this build isn't stun immune. But if you have the money, if you want more DPS, just pick one with crit chance. Since we are also igniting, we will also achieve 10% increased damage, so it gives a lot of DPS. Onslaught gives obviously movement speed and cast speed, which is good. And recover life, inner shield, those kind of stuff. Since we are using, you know, both. No, we are not actually using mana, never mind. Yeah, all our mana is reserved. So yeah, you can just generate that inner shield with this flask, but you don't actually need that because the helmet also recovers itself, you know. Chance for inner shield recharge to start when you use a skill, so you won't have any troubles actually. But this also helps with that. But this also gives a lot of DPS, so a lot of usable stuff in one flask, so you should definitely get once a Cinder Swallow flask. Finally, a life flask. I just picked an Eternal Life flask with increased recovery and delete, nothing special. You can also use something else if you want. In this part, we're gonna take a look at the path of building, gems, talent tree, the jewels we are using. So let's take a look at the deadeye first. Ricochet chain, so a better clear speed, endless munitions +2 projectiles, so again better clear. This also works with something else, we are going to talk about that later. This is something that only deadeye can do, the thing I'm going to explain later. Alright, gathering winds, tailwind, action speed, obviously DPS, wind ward for some damage mitigation, which is not enough, so you'll die. Alright, I'm telling this all the time because I don't want anyone to come and tell, oh my god, this build was so squishy. Because yes, it is squishy. I am telling this all the time. Alright, it's a shit build. What else? Let's check. Dodge. So Watcher's Eye, you just want that arcane surge for 4 seconds when you create consecrated ground with zealotry. Alright, the other stuff are useless. Do not search for those because we are using Eldritch Battery that comes from our helmet devouring diadem. That means that we cannot consume mana. That's why you cannot get arcane surge normally, but with this Watcher's Eye mode you can already generate, where's that, consecrated ground. If I can find my buffs, yeah, where's that 10% chance to create consecrated ground on hitting a rare or unique. Alright, so whenever you do that, you will get that arcane surge buff. But for, you know, if you want to calculate arcane surge, because that Watcher's Eye mode doesn't do anything on path of building, you have to put that yourself. I just put a flame dash here. It arcane surge level 1. I also made a note here to calculate arcane surge, Watcher's Eye. So this is not something that we use already. This is just to calculate the DPS. So you can, you know, take a look at your arcane surge, Watcher's Eye DPS. So it provides a lot of burst DPS. You can maybe, if you don't want this, maybe you can get again another mode, maybe with crits penetrate, you know, another zealotry mode. You can also get that, or maybe another Watcher's Eye that you can think of. But since we are missing arcane surge, that's why I picked this. This is very cheap, like, I don't know, 10 cast, 20 cast. This is just a, you know, very cheap Watcher's Eye. We are also using Battle Fade at big bosses, by the way. Whenever you press Battle Fade, because it also creates consecrated ground, you will just get this arcane surge instantly. Alright, so it also has a synergy with that. So if you use Battle Fade at big bosses, you will just get that arcane surge instantly. You don't even need that 10% RNG, so that is also very important. Has a good synergy. So what else? Lethal Pride Ekoya for chain breaker, so you can generate rage. Obviously whenever we hit, we lose that rage, so you won't have that rage while mapping. So first of all, do you really need this? Because this also means that you need Divergent Berserk, which is 10 exile. So if you want a better burst DPS, this is only for bosses, alright? If you want to do maps with this build, this is simply useless. Because you cannot generate any rage while mapping, because you are hitting targets all the time. You cannot even use Berserk on maps boss, because you won't have any rage, alright? So if you want to do maps mainly with this character, do not get this. Do not get this. Just put another jewel here and do not buy this, alright? But if you also want to kill Conquerors, Guardians like I did, if you want some boss, you know, fun action, you have to pay an extra 10 exalt for this, because it gives insane burst DPS. As you can see, a lot of DPS. Alright, so this is just for bosses, and you need this chain breaker with Lethal Pride Ekoya. So what else? Only one cluster, so I can get some penetration. On the large cluster, obviously we have something else. So prismatic cards to keep my resists easier. This large cluster is actually very cheap because it is only 2 modded. Maybe you can get a better one if you have the budget. Elemental damage cluster, 8 points, obviously. Nothing more because they are bad. Prismatic card damage resist. Dorian's lesson because we need some leech. Otherwise you don't have any leech. That's why this is a must for better healing. So yeah. Medium ones. Cooked alive for some penetration. Burning bright isn't necessary. It gives fire damage and area effect. You can also get smoking remains. or there was something else. I will just put the list on the screen probably. So just combine cooked alive with something that has fire damage, alright? Because this is actually a damage over time medium cluster. This actually doesn't give any DPS. So some of the stuff on this jewel is actually useless for this build. So there are only like 3 stuff apart from cooked alive. Since penetration is very important on bosses, this gives a lot of DPS. As you can see, if you skip that cooked alives, you lose a couple of million DPS. So yeah, penetration is good. That's why I picked these. So make sure you also get one of the other one, like a Burning Bright or whatever. I will just list those, alright? What's this? Normal jewels, rare jewels, double multi life. If you want to spend a little less, just put life, 1 multiplier, and another DPS stuff like spell damage, fire damage. What else? I'm not really sure. Maybe global damage. Those kind of stuff. But if you want to invest more, these are like 2 exalt each, not that expensive. Double multiplier, spell multiplier, fire multiplier, elemental, global. There are a lot of global, what's that, crit multiplier stats for these kind of spells, and 1 life. Again, multiplier, life, and that's it. So what else? Thread of Hope, very large. I also picked you cannot be mained corruption, so I don't get slowed. You can do that, but not important. You can also get penetration maybe for some DPS. So this is just for some, just some corruption action, because this is not that expensive. I just searched something, with what's this, corruption. So yeah, not that important. So why do we need this? Heart of Flame, a lot of DPS. Also it gives Leech Energy Shield, which is also good because you can also leech some of your Energy Shield, but not that much actually. So this is not that important already, but this is mostly for that fire damage and penetration, so you can get a lot of DPS. I also got this +1 minimum charges. I actually forgot to add this, yeah, but maybe it is already calculated. Let's see. Yeah, you don't even need to add it. The game just calculates it. 1 power charge for crit chance, 8% damage, so just a little damage. Also you can generate the other 2 power charges while mapping, so this is also for DPS. And finally Fire Walker, fire damage, cast speed, and fire resist, very good. So overall lots of DPS. If we just cancel all of these, we lost a lot of DPS. As you can see, this is simply broken. So make sure you get this Thread of Hope and get these 3 nodes. Let's see if there is anything else, anything special. 1 more jewel here, and that's it. That's a rare jewel. So yeah, so let's talk about the gems. Let me just drink some water. So yeah, Fireball, your skill, 6 link in your bow, because this is a multi-moded bow that gives a lot of gem level. You have to put your Fireball in this. Since this is also what's this, spell build, all the colors are off color, so make sure when you are buying your bow, you buy something with a lot of white colors maybe, or with some correct colors, because most people craft these kind of bows. Mine is actually 6 white, but there are lots of results with 3 white and 3 blues. You can also get one of those, so make sure your bow is correct colored. Do not even try to color it on your own. It is like impossible because this is 6 off color. So yeah, be very careful while buying your bow, and buy something with white colors or stuff like that. Alright. Fireball. While Fireball isn't that important, but I sometimes press it. It is mostly good for legions. It really helps with the legion clear, so you can get Wild Fireball. This is also very cheap because no one plays Fireball. It's a shit skill. Awakened Spell Echo. So we need some expensive stuff, otherwise we cannot deal this much damage. You can play with normal Spell Echo, but you will lose some DPS obviously. Let's just check. Because you have to invest in this build, otherwise it will be so bad. Yeah, we just lost some maybe 3 million burst DPS. You can probably play with normal spell echo because this is like 8 exiles, I believe, right now. But yeah, I suggest you to just invest and try like that, or where is the fun, you know? Elemental focus, awakened again if you have the money. Concentrated effect. So this actually only buffs the explosions, because fireball has two forms. First is a projectile, which is not even AoE. It deals something like this, and then bam, it explodes, dealing this. So concentrated effect only buffs that part. It does nothing for the initial effect. Alright, so very good explosion damage. But you will lose some AoE, but it isn't important because the clear speed is very good thanks to a lot of projectiles and chain from the Deadeye ascendancy. So that AoE isn't important. Empower level 4 for better DPS obviously. Bow also gives some plus gem level, so our empower is level 7, which provides 6 level to fireball. So our fireball is right now 30 levels. And finally pinpoint. So this is a new gem. I'm not sure when it was added, but yeah, it is, let's say, new, maybe 1 or 2 leagues past. So whenever you use your fireball while stationary, you will just generate intensity charges. Normally it is only 3 charges, and you will get some more projectile damage for each charge. We are also using where is this, intensity +1 maximum intensity, so that way we can get not 3 but 4 intensities, which adds a lot of more DPS. Alright, but there is actually a downside with playing with pinpoint, but it isn't a problem while playing a Deadeye. Now I'm gonna explain this. So support skills fire 1 fever projectile per intensity. So this means that whenever you stand still and start casting without moving or doing anything else, you will just lose your projectile count. But since you only need one projectile for a boss, so if you lose those extra projectiles, it isn't important on a boss fight. But if you are not playing a Deadeye for some reason, maybe if you want to try this build on something else for fun, since you will miss these 2 additional projectiles, if you get this, because this adds 1 extra, which means -1 projectile thanks to the 4th intensity stack, you will actually lose all your fireballs. Your character cannot cast anything. Alright, if you are not a Deadeye for some reason, if you want to test something else, some other character, because you are not gonna have this, make sure you don't get this. Otherwise you cannot play this build because you will just cast nothing. I will also, if I don't forget, put a clip so you will see. So you will lose all your projectiles. That's why a Deadeye can only play with pinpoint plus intensity. That's your specialty, let's say. A shit character's specialty. Body armor. This is 6 linked, but it can actually be 5 linked or even maybe 4 linked, alright? Because Flesh and Stone isn't linked to these actually. It doesn't really matter. So Flesh and Stone is a buff for some damage mitigation from range attacks. We are always on sand stance. This is wrong. So yeah, because it blinds nearby enemies. This is a defensive buff. I just put this on my chest because it cannot get linked to these gems, so it was fine. So yeah, you can do this. So Arcanist Brand, this is something that you need to use on a boss for more DPS, because this will just cast the other spells automatically. So with one button you will just cast the rest. So Arcanist Brand attached to Wave of Conviction, which applies exposure, fire exposure, because we have more fire damage. Also thanks to combustion support, so fire exposure, which adds a couple of million DPS. Flame Wall. So your projectile will also pass through that flame wall after it spawns. Adds another couple of million DPS. Also with combustion, it also applies ignite to targets, take where's that -25 res. So this also provides another couple of million DPS. So this setup alone provides maybe 10 million burst DPS. This is very important. So make sure you apply that brand to a boss. Wait maybe 1 second so it can cast everything, and then just burst the boss maybe, alright? Or maybe just attack, you don't even need to wait. And finally I also put lightning golem for some cast speed. This isn't important. You can maybe put something else here. Maybe just use a 4 linked Arcanist brand, something like that. Lightning Golem isn't important because it will die while mapping. So yeah, this is just for some extra stuff. Yeah, you can just skip this. Alright, Lightning Golem. What is this? Cast when damage taken for some mitigation, Immortal Call, increased duration, and while Righteous Fire for more spell damage. You obviously do not use normal Righteous Fire. You just pop while Righteous Fire at a very big boss for some extra DPS, which is broken. Mobility skills, dash, second wind, better cooldown, you know. If you are using Berserk, if you are killing bosses, this need to be divergent, by the way. Normal Berserk doesn't do anything. That is why it is expensive, because it gives more spell damage. Since this is something that you get from the quality, if you also put Enhance, which is only 3 levels actually, you can also use 4 for even more DPS. That will boost that quality. You can see that 20 plus 16, so a lot of extra DPS thanks to Enhance. You can see that it is a lot of DPS, alright. And yeah, so you just need to press that Berserk at a big boss. So you just also need to wait a couple of seconds so you can generate that 50 rage before attacking. After that, just press Berserk, press while Righteous Fire. If you want, also press while Fireball, and that's it. That's our cooldown. Buffs in Helmet. Discipline for more inner shield, because it's an Eldritch Battery build. We want to, make sure we have enough inner shield. Maybe you can try playing without discipline. I haven't tried it actually, because I couldn't find anything else to use, Maybe you can use Aspect of Spider and test that, but I'm not sure. So just try and play, without discipline if you want. If that works, you can reserve something else because you have a lot of mana left. We can reserve all our mana, by the way, because we don't need it, since we are using Inner Shield for mana, as a resource. So discipline is for that Inner Shield pool, that's it. Enlighten, you need level 4, otherwise you cannot reserve everything. Herald of Ash for more spell damage, where's that, fire damage actually? Yeah, spell fire damage. Zealotry, again, more damage, spell damage. And also if you are using an Arcane Surge Watcher's Eye, make sure you also put this here. Yeah. So even more DPS, so that's it, I believe. Pantheons, because I am not stun immune, I picked Brian King. You can maybe use other stuff if you want. They aren't that important. Pantheons are just, optional stuff. Aberrat is good for unaffected by burning ground. Also reduces the ignite duration, which is actually very important, because sometimes ignites deal a lot of DPS to you, So that reduced duration is actually very nice. You can maybe pick Soul of Ralakesh for main immunity. Maybe if you don't want to get slowed from main. My main immunity is on my Thread of Hope because it was cheap. But main isn't something that you need to be immune, but it is just some quality of life improvement. So just use something, alright? Pantheons are not important. And let's just also show the DPS, those kind of rotation stuff in game maybe. Just maybe here I will just show some couple of stuff. So you are at a boss, make sure you are using. So by the way, I forgot to mention this. I was actually playing with this first, but it was actually worse because you lose a lot of DPS. But maybe if you want to test something new, just also use Fork instead of Pinpoint. But without Pinpoint, you lose millions of DPS, which is very bad. But maybe if you want to try something different, just try to play with this. But in the end, this is my setup, alright? Fuck this. So what was I gonna explain? Alright, the cooldown, the rotation. So if you are at a boss, before pulling the boss, make sure you have 50 rage ready. You can maybe just also use some fireball, so you have 4 intensity, but you have to move maybe to pull the boss or something like that. So yeah, just make sure you have maybe some intensities ready. Brand on the boss, your Arcanist brand. As you can see, we are only shooting 2 projectiles, which is the minimum count for us. So brand, if you have it, Valdo's fire. After Valdo's fire, you need to wait maybe 1 second because it will just burn all your inner shield. So I usually press this just before boss starts, so I can just maybe recover some inner shield, so I can cast skills. Alright. So don't press this at the last moment, just press this maybe 2 seconds earlier, because this lasts like, what is that, 6.5 seconds. So if you just wait 2 seconds, that means maybe 4 seconds left. 4 seconds is enough to kill a boss if you have similar gear. Alright, they just die because we have more than 30-40 million burst DPS. You will just delete the boss. So yeah, make sure you press this earlier, put your brand, get ready, maybe get ready your intensity stacks. Also at the last second, you know, press berserk, pop your flasks, bam 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 bam, dead. Maybe also press this earlier. Once you press your Valdo's fire, you can also do this, Valdo's fire, fireball. And that's it. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and also join my Discord so you don't miss any news. And I will see you later.